What's up, guys? We are here with Kyle Vergottini, and he just took 17th place at Argent Saga Championship Richmond, playing Eitan Kyte. And mono air, that's what a lot of people have been requesting recently, is to see his deck profile. You guys have seen him on my channel quite often playing various air lists, so he's definitely got some experience with the deck, and he took a bit of a different build into the event and had almost some top 16 success. Bubbled as hard as you possibly can, but let's get into the deck here, Kyle. So Eitan Kyte.
Yeah, I played a lot with mono air before at the start of the game, and I just felt like I just didn't think it was strong enough to deal with Ergon and the Sylvia lock. So, but then I kind of forgot the deck's it's Eitan and the ships. It's kind of really good. So I decided to try that out again after Ergon gets suspended. So.
Yeah, I mean, Ergon definitely made a lot of cards and decks not as viable as they would hope to be, but now that he's gone, we're finally seeing some things shine, so let's get right into your deck.
Okay, so I am playing 3 Skyship Engineer, just a staple 3 of an air, really good card. I'm playing 3 Sky Recruit. So I'm not playing a whole lot of 1-drops in this deck, so I'd fill it out with something, and I decided to give this a try, and it turned out to be a lot better than I expected. Just being able to throw these out early game to scout towers, or even if you draw into one of them late game, it lets you fill up the board and start scouting then too. I just decided to try that over Carbuncle because I don't have to bounce him to get the search like Carbuncle. I could just play him and get it, and then pitch to Kyte himself if I need to. And also he's a Sky Raider, so he comes off of ships. So yeah, turned out to be work really well for me. 2 drops. We got Skytree Hawk, just one of the the only good 2-drop air unit, at least for this build. I know it's through Sansu Traveler, but I was trying to go away from aggro, so yeah, just a good card for drawing. Yeah, 3 Kaze, in my opinion, another staple 3 of in green card. 3 Hurricane Shot, so I'm really not playing a whole lot of spells in this build, and I just figured I felt like of all the spells I could play, this would probably be the best one to go with. Just popping any 4-drop for 2 costs, that's pretty good value, and also just being able to bounce an air unit 4 cost to dodge things is pretty big too.
Yeah,
so
bouncing back like Skytree Hawk or something.
Yeah, doing that.
Pretty crazy. Yeah,
or even like dodging, like if you have a Sylvia on board or other big cards, you play that, it's just gone, it's off the board, you can't even respond to it because it's for cost, so really good for saving units as well. I have 2 Monarch Skydagger.
Yes, Skydagger's so good.
Yeah, and I was previously playing 3, but I was also going for a more aggro build, and I didn't feel like it was going to be as necessary, since I'm not like kiting things every single turn, just kind of when I need to, and I've had a lot of people tell me that 3 Skydaggers is wrong and 2 is fine, and so I decided to take their advice, and worked out pretty well. Really good card. And then the last 2-drop and the last spell is Royal Reflection.
I didn't even know that you mained one of these things.
Yeah.
How did this end up working out for you at the end?
Honestly, it didn't. I mean, it was just the one. It didn't come up too often. I'm pretty sure I changed the target on a Corona once.
It's so nasty though.
Yeah,
the game.
I had the 1 slot. I wanted to fill it with something, and I felt like I didn't feel like Royal Reflection was like versatile enough to play it like multiple copies. But it's enough of a blowout that I decided to put in the 1. And
yeah, it's kind of easy to like bait certain things. Like usually the Corona's being used to like finish the game or get rid of a piece of your board that is super important.
Right.
So if you can, reflect that potentially back onto them, it could just blow them out super easily.
Oh yeah, it's huge, and that's why I just put in the 1, just because if it comes up, it can be game winning. Yeah, so I have that. I got 3 drops. I got 3 Cloud Sea, probably the best air 3-drop
Yeah.
Not much to say there. 2 marksmen. So I tried running 3 before, and I think it's perfectly fine at 3. It is a really good card. But I was trying to cut room, and I didn't think that it was the most important card in the deck, so I cut it down to 2, and I think that number worked out well for me. And then I got Rudy. Which, yeah, there's a lot of like good arrive effects in this to make it worth it. There's a few times where they came up where I could play that late game and then throw down Warship to double pop something. There's one game where I didn't have enough. Not enough towers were down, so I was playing that with Nanatsu and doubling up counters. And also just like it's a good 3-drop. You put it on board, it pressures your opponent to deal with it.
Yeah, I do agree with that. When Rudy hits the board, it's almost like you have to handle it, or bad things are about to happen to you. So
right. So that's it for the 3-drops. So next, I'm playing 4 Nanatsu.
4 Nanatsu.
Oh, 3 Nanatsu. Sorry, I'm getting my numbers mixed up. 4 cost, 3 of them.
He's playing 4.
Man,
he didn't get DQ'd.
Damn, I would play. Man, stole my joke. I would totally play 4 if I could, but no, I got 3 of them. Honestly, aside from the legendaries, possibly the best card in the deck. This card is insane. The fact that you can just pop anything without restriction, pretty much, not like Hurricane Shot or anything, or like Warship that have cost restrictions. It's just pops anything. That's really important for the deck, because sometimes your opponent throws up a big unit and you just have to have a way to deal with it. Sure. And even early game, it can be really good, because if going into turn 4, 1 tower's down, that's enough. You put it down, you get the counter, exhaust something, and then you can start beating over your opponent's units. You can kite it to get the counters back. It's just, the card is nuts.
So I know this one guy, I think his name is Drew Wetzler. He said that this card isn't very good. How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna give him a benefit of the doubt, because he might have different opinions in Air versus like Juan.
No, I mean, he just said the card's bad.
Oh, okay. He's wrong.
Okay,
really
cool.
Good.
I just wanted to make
it's
sure.
really, really good.
Okay, on to the next card. On to the next thing.
And then I have.
Love you, Drew.
Oh yeah, it's all in fun, Drew. We got 3 Eitan Righteous Outlaw. This is just another really good early game card, because if you draw this with a 1-drop, it's hitting the field. You can get it out really early. Then you can. This deck doesn't have like a ton of like turn 1 through 3 plays. So just being able to put a huge unit on board and pressure your opponent's units, it makes the card really good. I mean, it practically comes out free anyway. You could also use it as like an instacast, like if you're swinging at stuff with some of your units and your opponent decides to swing at your tapped units instead of a tower, you can just drop this to bounce and fizzle their attack.
Another Skytree Hawk bounce.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just nuts.
Yeah, there's just
when they try to kill your Skytree Hawk and you respond back to it by bouncing it, and they just lose a resource and you draw 2. Pretty good. The just holding on to it and just using it to bouncing in response to something is really strong on its own. And then even if you have a late game and you have to hard cast it, now you're getting 2 summons out of it, because it's going to go to the discard normally and you can revive it. So a really good card for mono air. I got 2 Skytree Sand ships. So I wanted to play some sort of ships, the 4-drop ships for the bigger ships, and I might be wrong to think this, but I honestly just I didn't like the idea of playing blockade ship. Just having a guy on board that can just get like dust striked or anything like whenever at your opponent's leisure, and then it's like it might as well have never been on the board. I decided to try this out instead because of the floating into one of my the 1-drop Sky Raiders, and like, if I summon on my opponent's turn and exhaust something, it's not like blockade ship where they can get rid of it. It stops an attack for sure, but it turned out to be a lot better than I thought, because even if you have like an Eitan up or something up early, like turn 4 or 5, and then you summon this, you can exhaust something, attack over it. So it turned out to be really good. Yeah.
And last 4-drop Sylvia at Sylvia.
Wow.
Yeah, who would have thought?
The creativity.
And then next I have 3 Garga for the 5 drops.
Triple Garga.
Yeah, just really, really good green card. Out stupid cards like Juggernaut. Finishes games with the quickness. And yeah, and then because I'm using Eitan and all my units kind of become spells, you can being able to play it on your opponent's turns, really good. Being able to sack it for a 6-drop, really good. So yeah, played 3 of those. And I didn't really like the 5-drop ship, so that's not. It's just that's the only 5-drop. 6-drop, we got the 3 warship. Another
Garga into this though.
yeah, Garga. You can Garga into this on your opponent's turn is really good since it pops something on arrival and it's a destroyer and it floats into the 4-drop ship. It's just a big threat on board. Either if you're just playing it from your turn or go Eitening into it, and you can also Eitan sacrifice it for no summon and bring out the sand ship from its effect and stop an attack that way. So just really good card.
Yep.
And then the last card is Konos.
25 cents. That's what that card is right there. This is literally
like
the cheapest Argent Rare card, but I think we are sleeping on this thing. Tell us a little bit more about Konos.
Yeah, it's like Sylvia is obviously like a win condition card. You draw it, you win. This is pretty close to being as good. Oh, okay. No, it's Sylvia's. Nothing's in Sylvia. But it is a very strong card because it basically has an arrive effect. Anything in front of it gets minus 2,000 and can't attack. So it's going to kill a lot of units just when it hits the board. So late game, if you have to, you can even kite it back and replay it. The fact that you can bounce another one of your units makes them unaffected by spells, makes them really hard to get off the board.
Yeah.
Granted, it can, I mean, you can still Corona it, but like it's not going to get Chrono Phantasma or Finishing Grade either.
Yeah, that's one big thing. I was actually sitting at the top tables. I think it was in like round 7 or 6 or 7 when you were playing against Nori, who had won the last Argent Championship, and he tried to Chronostasis you, and you bounce back one of your air units for Konos, and he's like, okay, shuffle Konos back in, and you're like, no, it says it's not affected by spells, not like can't be targeted. It's not affected. Like it doesn't go away. Like it can't be harmed by spells in any way, shape, or form as long as you're bouncing the thing back like that. So it does live through Chronostasis, which is pretty cool.
Right. It is. Yeah, and that's something that makes it really unique.
Is that the only card? I think it's the only card in the game that lives
that
like something
it's unaffected by spells. I'm honestly not sure, but I think it's the only one that sees competitive play. If there's other ones hiding out there that I'm not sure.
Quarter card.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not the first person to play this. I think a lot of other people playing mono air have beat me to this card, but I tried it out and turned out to be crazy good. So that's the last card in the main deck.
Yeah. Let's get into the side real quick.
So I got 3 Command Center. Decided not to play that in the main just because I knew everyone was going to be running around with Hoenn Kite, and or I didn't even play that many Hoennas surprisingly this event, but a lot of people are playing Kite. Even the people who aren't playing Kite were splashing in Zephyr Crystal. So just playing a Command Center and just having it die before it gets to it doesn't get any use feels real bad. So I just sided him. I sided him once against someone not playing Zephyr Crystal. Card's broken. It would be an automatic 3 of if Zephyr Crystal doesn't exist, but it does, so it's inside. Got 3 Melody of Ages. I only sided that in once against Shamael Kite. Just having more answers to really big units is good. The one time I did side in, it turned out to be really good, and I think I'm going to try to find a way to work these into the main in the future. Got the other 2 Royal Reflection, mainly there for Oron decks, where Royal Reflectioning and Iskandar is it's an instant win. Yeah, unless your opponent plays Mizu and bounces it back. That feels bad. But still, really good card for that. Except the one Oron I played, we didn't go into game 2, so it didn't come up. I got 3 Tornado Shot, 1 Lightning Shot for aggro decks. It was kind of weird siding it in just because I think one mistake I made is I didn't plan out my siding enough, but I mean it did what it was supposed to do. Win game 1, have spells to deal with aggro game 2. Yeah, And then last 3 cards were 3 Shard Beast, which were more for going aggro game 2, but since the deck isn't built for it to begin with, and I'm just siding those 3. I didn't end up coming up. It was like a last second pick. I think going forward, I'll commit a lot more of my side deck to going aggro game 2, but yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, well, going into the weekend, I know we tested this deck a lot. Personally, me, you, and our local squad, and you kind of were just beating the crap out of us as we were playing Hoenn Kite. You said you didn't play a lot of Hoenn Kites. What did you end up losing to and tying to? I know, what was it, 2 losses and 1 tie?
Yeah, so I drew once against Hoenn Fizzy. There's just a lot of stalling back and forth. I think he went, he slapped down a Juggernaut, and then also did, Evil Eye to discard 2 Gargus from my hand.
Oof.
So I wasn't doing anything for a while. We just stared at each other for a while, ended up getting a draw during game 1. And then I lost to Nori playing
Jamie
Aluna. Once that deck went going, I thought it was good until he got the loop set up, and then I was just locked out. And maybe I should have given it and scooped earlier, but I didn't have enough of my side committed to aggro, so I just decided to just
try to
it
see
out.
if
It didn't work. But and then the last game I lost, which was the match that caused me to bubble, get 17th. I played
Eric Goodwin. I hate that guy. Oh my god. Yeah, what a monster. Yeah.
I'm sure he's seen my
hashtag hate Eric Goodwin.
Yeah, he saw my Eitan. My full art Eitan. He just threw his feet up.
Yeah.
Just said, easy win.
Yeah,
just
what a rudest guy.
But so that game I almost won from him decking out, but I think I misplayed a lot, and I also just didn't play fast enough, timed out. He ended up beating me. Those were all my losses. All the other games ended up going pretty convincingly. But yeah, like you said, didn't play that many Hoennas. 1 Hoenn Kite, 1 Hoenn Vizzy.
That's crazy.
Which works out well because this deck has a good blue matchup, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the deck profile. Hopefully next time you can make top 16. I think you're getting there, man. You're so close every time.
I'm gonna keep playing.
You're gonna get there. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.